Hey everyone, and welcome back to our channel, Travels in Tranquility. I'm Lauren.
I'm Devin. I thought you were just going to say it, and then you pointed at me.
But you said it, so it was fine. It could have been worse. We're here to give some reactions to our experience at Medieval Times today. So if you've been keeping up with our channel, our last video, we shared a bit of our experience at Medieval Times. We went to Medieval Times in Buena Vista Park?
Buena Park.
Buena Park, down in Southern California. It's about an hour away from where we were for Universal Studios.
Yeah.
It's a lot closer to like Disneyland kind of area, just if you want some location. But let's go ahead and dive right into it. So we're going to talk about it in terms of like 5 kind of categories. The first one being food. So what did you think? They serve you dinner.
Yeah, so that the night we went, we had a soup.
With garlic bread.
With garlic bread, it was roast chicken, and then corn, potato, and then I guess dessert.
Dessert, which we don't know.
Choice.
We don't know what that was.
Medieval Times choice.
Yeah.
What did I think of it?
Yeah, what did you think of the quality of the food?
I mean, it wasn't great. It was okay.
Yeah. I think, at that sort of experience, they're making food for, it's like a buffet, they're making food for thousands of people, right? Whatever their capacity is. So they have to make a lot of food and keep it warm and then serve it. Like, that's a big task for any place to be able to handle that kind of
Right, the Medieval Times kitchen must be a nightmare.
Yeah, well, I'm sure they're prepping food earlier in the day and then just keeping it warm until it's time to serve it.
Right.
I thought the food was okay. It's also very bland. Because their clientele is going to be families and small children.
Kids, picky
so
kids.
they're keeping their food pretty neutral, so that for picky eaters, which I am a picky eater, so that it meets their needs. But I would agree, there's nothing to write home about. The soup was kind of cold. I don't know if it just because it took us a while to understand. The big thing for me, no silverware. I thought it was a joke when the guy at the check-in counter was like, I hope you enjoy eating with your hands because that's what you're about to do tonight. I was like, oh, ha, ha, ha. And then no silverware.
And nothing, yeah.
I would imagine you could request silverware. Yeah. There was a guy sitting in front of us that looked like he had silverware. We were just thrown off by everything else we're going to talk about that we didn't get to that point. So that makes it difficult.
It was kind of sensory overload.
As a whole thing.
On the whole, yeah. So we were slow on the uptake, I think.
Yeah, I think so too. I did think, the chicken was decent. Like, it was tasty, a little dry, a little like seasonless.
Yeah.
The corn was definitely very like waterlogged.
You could tell. I think of everything, that was the thing that showed most that it had been just kind of sitting
in hot water.
For me, anyway.
For a really long time, yeah. Garlic bread was pretty good, but it was just your standard kind of frozen Texas toast that you could get at, your kinda local grocery store. And then, like we said, and we'll talk about why later, we didn't stay for the dessert, so we don't actually know what that was or what it tasted like. So food, definitely lackluster. I will say, if you have dietary restrictions, they are accommodating of those. There was another woman we were sitting by that got a different meal than...
Yeah, I think she said she requested a vegan one.
Yeah, so I mean, that's nice to know that if you have allergies or, just dietary restrictions, that they do accommodate that. So, I mean, that should be standard in this day and age, but it is nice to know that it's available.
Yeah.
So second category, which is kind of the main event, I think, at Medieval Times, is the show. So you go in, you are kind of sorted into, I think there's like six different colors for the night that you're supposed to be supporting.
And then there's different things. There's different indicators as well that funnel you through different doors based on what your ticket is. So there's a whole bunch of tiered levels. Very strange.
It is very strange. So we were supporting the Yellow Knight.
Yeah, Yellow Knight.
And so like we sat in the yellow section. We had the little yellow banner to wave around. And basically the show is that the queen of this land is kind of like showing off her knights. I guess they're putting on like a little competition, if you will. So at first, like you meet the queen. She shows off like some of her horses. There's like a falcon that also like flies around.
That was pretty cool.
That was pretty cool. And then you get introduced to all of the different knights, and they compete in different games.
Right. My whole thing is like, I guess should we spoil medieval times? Like, is that a...
Yeah, I mean, we didn't see how it ended, so we don't know that part, but what we saw, we can talk about.
It was just weird that, like, the whole thing was like it's a night competition, but then every game, every night won. Yeah. Which was weird.
Everyone was declared a winner.
Yeah.
I don't know if at the end, though, there's one knight that's declared the winner somehow for something. After each game, they would go and like be presented to the queen, who is like visible during the whole show. We actually had a really good view of her.
Her and
she was,
her
like,
advisor
dead in front of us.
Yeah.
She would give them flowers, and then the knights would come around and throw the flowers out to their like colored section of the audience.
There was a lot of time spent throwing plastic flowers at the audience. Like
there was.
At one point, Lauren got up for something, and she was gone for like maybe just a few minutes.
Yeah, I went to the bathroom.
And in that time she was gone, she missed 2 games and 2 or 3 different sessions of nights just chucking roses, at the audience. It was crazy.
I will say I didn't like the show. I didn't think it was interesting. There was no real like through line of the plot beyond just let's see what these knights can do.
Right.
And that wasn't very intriguing. We're probably not the target audience for that, though, either. And let's kind of move on maybe to, like, the ambiance of it. It's really flippin' loud.
Oh, it's so loud.
It is incredible. So there was a little bit of a snafu with our tickets. Nobody's fault, just a little misunderstanding, and we realized we were on the wrong section. So it took us a lot longer to get seated, to be in the appropriate seats. And so we sat down and like the show started immediately. So there was no like settling in kind of time to take the lay of the land, to kind of understand what was happening around us. It just started immediately, and it was just loud.
It was chaos just from the beginning.
Absolute chaos. So everybody is encouraged to shout and scream for their knight
as much as possible,
but then also to boo for the other knights. So it's just constant cheering and booing all happening at the same time, and people were really into it. We were not the norm of audience members. Everybody else was very much into it.
So I don't know if like maybe because of the snafu, like maybe the hosts would have like explained something when we sat down.
It's possible.
Like so I'm thinking maybe like
we missed something.
We missed it.
Yeah.
Like with the main dining thing on Adventure of the Seas. If you go back to our video for that, you know.
Yeah, maybe you missed something not going the first night on a cruise. We're not sure. But let's kind of start from the beginning. So we get there, we park, and you know, it's a cool looking structure, I will say that. Like it's a flippin' castle on the side of the road. So it catches your eye, which is really cool. But we were greeted by workers on strike.
Yes.
So we didn't realize going into this experience that the workers of medieval times, the performers, were on strike.
Yeah.
So that was really hard because obviously we support people getting paid appropriately. And some of the accusations they were shouting about were animal abuse. And that was really hard too. We immediately started researching things and trying to figure out. We couldn't see anywhere where those claims were being substantiated, like being supported, but it definitely was.
It's concerning.
Was concerning, and it was stuck in our mind. Unfortunately, they already had our money, so we thought, well, we'll try it and see what happens. Once you're funneled through the line, You get your little paper crowns. They take your photo that you can pay for at the end. And then you're in this kind of waiting area before you get into the show. There's some like outdoor seating that you can sit down. But then inside, there's like several different bars where people are enjoying themselves.
Oh, there's lines, so many lines of just people getting trashed before medieval times. That might explain the noise level later on. And then people are making a party of it. And
to each their own, right?
Sure,
like, you're on vacation, fine, enjoy yourself as long as you're not drinking and driving, right? And then there's a lot of like souvenir stands as well, but they're very, in my opinion, tacky souvenirs.
They're like roadside carnival sort of light up plastic stuff.
Yes, they're very much meant for the kids, which is totally fine. We've never been to a Renaissance fair either, so I don't know if that's like standard fare. We don't really know.
Well, there was a place also that sold like high-end
like
sword reproductions. Not actual swords, but still, it was an armory. They had a lot of really cool stuff there. But so, I mean, if you're looking for more of the high-end stuff, that's there too. I imagine it's very expensive because we didn't see prices listed anywhere. There were prices for all the carnival toys, but there were no prices listed for the reproductions. I imagine there are a lot.
I imagine too. And then in one section behind one of the like bar areas, you could see the horses in their, I don't know what those are called, paddocks?
Stalls, paddocks,
and they felt small to me. And then when you get in, so once you're funneled through the next set of doors to actually get into your seats, there's the big like dirt thing in front of you, and then there's like tiered seating kind of going back.
It's kind of like a Coliseum.
Yeah, and it's all closed in, which I think is kind of strange. It's just a weird feeling. You're eating dinner. There's dirt on the ground. You're surrounded by people, and there's animals everywhere, and you're eating with your hands. It very much wasn't for us.
It was very strange. Like that's the whole thing. It's like not. We're not saying we think it's like wrong. It's just weird and not for us.
It just wasn't for us. And the issues of animal abuse, we didn't see anything that would support those claims. Obviously, that's not part of the show to abuse animals. But once it's in your mind, you start to worry about the animals. So it just made it really difficult to enjoy or to want to support it. Right. So we did end up leaving shortly after we were served the chicken portion of the meal, like the main course. We left. We told somebody that we were leaving so that they would call out our server so that we could tip her, because obviously it has nothing to do with her.
And she was amazing. I'm so sorry we forgot your name, but you were amazing.
Yes. Yeah. It had nothing to do with her. And we explained to her, like, it just wasn't for us, but we wanted to make sure you got paid. Yeah. So it wasn't for us. Mm-hmm. So next kind of category is value for money. I didn't pay for this, so I don't know if you want to speak to how much you spent, because it was like a birthday thing. So
it was a lot of money. Like,
you did upgrade us, right? Like
I upgraded us one tier. Okay. So there's like we were saying earlier, there's a bunch of different colors of hats and shit. So there's a couple of different ways you can upgrade. I won't go into all of it because it's just minutia.
Yeah, you can find it all on their website.
But I upgraded us one level above the normal ticket, and it was $75 a ticket. So, I mean, it's not cheap.
No.
And for a family on a budget, or for somebody who's in town who's already spending all this money.
If you're already on vacation for Universal Studios, for Disneyland, like this is a big thing to add on to it.
So fitting in an extra almost $100 a person for this, I gotta say it's not worth it at all. Right?
Yeah, I wouldn't see it either.
If it was half the price and there weren't concerns about workers' compensation and animal stuff, I'd say maybe go for it. But at this point, with those prices and the fact that all that other stuff's going on, I'd say avoid.
Yeah, I agree. I think to wrap it all up, I think just in general, this experience was not for us. Mm-hmm. It's not something we're interested in ever trying again. And we personally don't recommend it. Now, obviously, we would encourage you to go try it on your own if that's something that interests you. Maybe spend a little bit of time researching and understanding what some of those claims are that are coming for the performers. Obviously, we support people getting paid for a living wage and a wage that they deserve. And we obviously support animals having a safe, healthy life.
Right.
Even if they're in the performance industry, you know, they need to be treated well. And we hope that the reason that those claims haven't been substantiated yet is because they are false claims and that the animals are treated well. And we hope that whatever members and board is responsible for making sure that those animals are taken care of, that they are aware of the claims and that they have done their due diligence in making sure.
Right.
But yeah, it's not an experience for us, and it's not something that we would recommend you spending your money on.
No, and like Lauren was saying, it's not even something at this point we'd say recommend try it out yourself, because there's just too much. There's too much stuff. I'd say avoid. Just there's so many other crazy cool things to do. Down in Anaheim, the Anaheim area in the Southern California.
So much more fun just going to downtown Disney. And there's some great restaurants at downtown Disney, you know, if you're looking for something that's not just theme parks, but is kind of a fun experience. That was great. And then obviously, like, you're in Southern California, there's going to be some great local restaurants and other theater performances that you could go and spend your money on.
Right.
You know, but to each their own. I'm glad everybody else seemed to have a good experience so that they had a good vacation memory, but it just wasn't for us.
Wasn't for us. Yeah. And it just shows you got to do your research before you. Lesson learned.
Yeah, absolutely.
Got to do your research.
Absolutely. I will say there is another thing right down the road called the Pirates Dinner Adventure, which is apparently a pirate-themed show and dinner. So it's interesting that there are two so close together.
Like a block apart from each other.
So go figure. That one doesn't have animals in it, so maybe it's better. Maybe. And
their workers aren't on strike right now either. So.
Currently, yeah. We'll see. Anyway, so that was our experience at Medieval Times. We hope you guys enjoyed hearing a little bit about it. You could give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. Hit that subscribe button. There's tons of more vacation and cruise related content to come. So we hope you stick around.
And a crazy amount of stuff we already have up. So, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Catch you guys in the next adventure. Bye.